Hey, you got Trevor Beggs here. You got Hennessy Balwan here.
Oh, Hennessy Balwan.
And let's talk about
if I was a male stripper, that would be my fucking name.
Hennessy Balwan. You know what? It's, funny story, man. I met this guy recently, and he used to clean the stripper poles.
Oh, you know,
I think I was telling you about this.
I thought I met this guy as a male stripper.
Yeah.
I was gonna be totally fine. I don't judge. Whatever.
Sometimes, the wife and I just gotta shake it up, right? Sometimes you break some male strippers around.
Oh man,
you're going downhill fast, man. Going downhill real fast.
Like I said, I'm not judging.
I'm glad you don't judge, man. I really feel good about that.
Yeah, just have
I got thick skin, but it's nice to have people around that don't judge you.
You know who has thick skin?
Appreciate it.
Segue. You know who has thick skin? Gallant, head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, man. This guy gets fired. The NHL team gets fired from a fucking NHL team. It gets sent home in a fucking cab. They don't got a chauffeur, like a limo to drive him to the airport. Yeah. Gets sent in the fucking cab. What does he do?
That's rough, man.
He's like, he probably could have got hired, assistant coach, maybe a head coaching gig somewhere else in the league. But he chose Vegas. He chose the Golden Knights. Coaches that team. And he's probably, you can argue that he may be a bigger part of their success than George McPhee. Because, he's handling the players that McPhee picked. Not to take away from the management. But he's in that dressing room, and he's built that. You can tell they all play for each other.
Yeah.
With the coaches, the players, they just play for each other. He's built that. And, man, he's just flexing on the whole league, man. He's flexing on the Panthers. I know you got more to say about the Panthers while you're at it, man. I know we're going to talk about Mustard Salt. That's what I call him. And Riley Smith. But, man, go on.
Well, yeah, I think one of the most underrated storylines of this Cup final is the coaching battle.
Yeah.
Trotz, one of the most deserving coaches to be there. We touched on that a bit.
Nice.
Gallant, after the whole Florida debacle, you got him there leading that team to the Cup final. He's obviously done, that's been one of the best coaching performances in NHL history, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Taking this fucking ragtag group and bringing them to the Cup final.
I know, man.
How do you top that, man?
Remarkable. So good throughout the whole year. And he just, they could have had Gallant and the players, the whole franchise could have been you know what, we had a good regular season. We don't even need to, try that hard in the playoffs. We're good. We won the fans over. But nah, these guys just kicked it to another level, right? What are they, 12-3, you said, right? That's remarkable, man. They kicked it to another level. 12 of the last 15 in the playoffs.
They're living on borrowed time, man. Honestly, what do they have to lose? They've done so well, man.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck at this point. They're gonna give a fuck if they lose, obviously.
Yeah.
But honestly, no one expected them to even make the playoffs.
I know.
The fact that they've gone this far, there's no pressure. They just have to play, man. And I know that's what Gallant's telling them.
100%.
And you know what? You could be telling the Florida Panthers players this, man. Let's talk about the fucking Panthers for a minute, man. They have the most embarrassing franchise in the NHL, hands down. First of all, you let Gerard Gallant go, and that's not even the big story, man. The Knights are led by two players, man. Riley Smith and Jonathan Marchessault. Mustard Salt, whatever you want to call him.
It's because I don't know how to pronounce his name consistently. Mustard Salt?
You gotta do the French accent.
Yeah,
Marchessault.
Oh, it's like Jonathan
Marchessault.
I just like Mustard Salt. I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, that works, man.
Jonathan Mustard Salt. And Riley Smith, two really good players. They're solid everywhere on the ice, man, the playoffs, especially Mustard Salt, that guy fucking tries hard, man, and he's skilled as fuck. He's always finding gaps. I'm not saying he's like Johnny Gaudreau, but he reminds me of him. Same size, and they're just kind of he just finds holes and capitalizes.
Never mind Johnny Gaudreau, man. This guy looks like Martin fucking St. Louis, man. I think of 2004, how good was Martin St. Louis in those playoffs, man. And he stuck it to his former team in Calgary as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know, this isn't the exact same scenario, but Marchessault is showing the whole NHL.
Yeah.
Why he is one of the premier players in the game. The playoffs is where heroes are born.
Yeah, true.
And this is Marchessault's coming out party, man, honestly.
Yeah, man.
He had a coming out party in Florida last year, but this is on a whole other level, man.
He actually got interviewed by Rintoul and Andrew Walker, and I heard this interview. It was kind of interesting. This was from a couple weeks ago, and he talked about how he didn't really dwell on the fact that he was this cast-off from Florida. He was actually excited to get more minutes. Capitalize on having more minutes. So, man, good on him. He wanted this, and he's taking full advantage.
But it's funny too, because I was just curious how good Florida would be with Smith and Marchessault.
Yeah.
And I was writing a little piece for the Hockey Writers, and you know what? Smith and Marchessault, they didn't really get increased ice time in Vegas.
They didn't.
No, they I think Smith had an extra 24 seconds a game. And Marchessault, I think, even had less minutes. Or maybe it was within 30 seconds.
Okay.
So they weren't really getting more opportunities.
Yeah. Maybe it just feels like his role is bigger and they're just capitalizing on it. Or maybe they're just fucking good players and, like you said, Florida made a huge mistake.
That's exactly what happened, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, Florida, since 2000, I mean, even since they went to the Cup final in 96 or whatever it was.
Jovanovski.
Yeah, back in those days. Anyways, since 2000, Florida's won 5 fucking playoff games. Vegas has doubled that in 1 year.
Yeah.
Like, how many fans are there even left in Florida to care about that fucking team? Because they have hammered that team into the ground, man.
They're doing a little bit better, you know.
Okay.
Like maybe 14,000. Yeah, I know, I'm just joking.
Hear me out.
Trash still.
They got a good
fan base goes.
They have a good, young, promising team in Florida.
Yeah, they do.
That they have. They got some good young pieces in place.
Yeah.
But they would have been in the fucking playoffs this year if they had one of those guys.
Maybe Dale.
And they let them both go.
Maybe Dale Talon has a crazy offseason this year. He's pissed. He acquires the right guys. Plugs them into that roster. They had a lot of injuries this year. And remember how they played when they got everyone back and they rallied around that tragic shooting in Florida. They almost made the playoffs too. So I know, you know what? Every team was presented with that task. You know, we have to let go of players. Obviously, Florida fucked up the most. I mean, they traded. Did they trade like Riley Smith to them? Like, don't pick Petrovic. And, yeah. So how did the thing go again?
So Florida picked Marchessault.
Yeah.
And in order for Florida to pick Marchessault, Florida said, if we're gonna leave Marchessault unprotected,
take him.
We want you to take Riley Smith in his salary as well. And for good measure, we're gonna throw in a 4th round pick because having 2 best players isn't good enough.
I know. See, it's a crazy time, and you can even argue the same thing with Minnesota as well. They lost Eric Holla.
Yeah, I can understand Minnesota's point of view a little bit more.
They want to keep Dumba and stuff like that. I understand.
Matt Dumba is one guy. No offense to Alex Petrovic.
Yeah, but they were high on him. They were high on him before, man. Like, I know it's such a such a crazy. Hey, man. Their assistant captain is Lucas Biza, man. We lost a fucking assistant captain. We all struggling after the
that's another story from a Canuck point of view, man. I think one of the most underrated stories is Lucas Pizza Boy Spiza in the Stanley Cup final.
I know, man. What if he grabs the Stanley Cup? I mean, they have assistant captains. Like, you never know, man. They have 3 or 4 assistant captains. What if Spiza picks up like 2 goals, 2 assists, has a big series? It's like, yo, when we win the cup, you can fucking grab the cup first. Holy shit! Could you imagine that? He would probably drop it for sure, man.
Yeah, he would accidentally pass it to fucking.
People coming up to me like, look at Lucas Biza. He's a fucking going to the Stanley Cup final. I'm like, yo, like yeah, maybe he's improved, but we were gonna lose him, and everyone was happy. It's okay. We're not fucking crying over.
It doesn't matter. If Spiza wins, it'll be a mystery. But it's not like we're gonna dwell on. Oh my god, I wish I had Spiza. He was a terrible player here. You know what? He wasn't good.
Yeah, he was terrible.
And no, so he had his moments, but he had a lot of turnovers, a lot of giveaways.
Let's not even give any more time, then. Fuck Spiza on the Canucks.
I'll say this one more time. He is on a good team. Yeah. He is sheltered in a 3rd pairing role. He plays with a good puck moving defenseman on the other side. I mean, Spiza looked good when he was in Tanev too, man.
Oh yeah, he did at the end of the year. We're talking too much Canucks.
All right. Let's go. I'll go to one more story, man, and let's go one more underrated story. How about the battle of 2 Swedish top centers, man? Let's go. St. Nicholas Backstrom versus fucking Wild Bill Carlson, man. How about this for a matchup in the center ice position?
You're right. This may be like an underrated storyline going in. Backstrom's coming off an injury. Look, he's trying his hardest. It's a hand injury to a playmaker, to a forward, to a guy who plays center. It's a big injury, but he's trying his hardest. And Carlson, man, the whole year about Carlson, it's been wild. So I'm excited to see the matchup as well. Two players that can have a big role in the series.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Carlson's looked good in these playoffs. He's one of those players. He hasn't really shown those huge flashy moments like he had in the regular season. So I think that's one player to watch for sure.
He does it.
He's got some room to fucking break out and improve. And I mean that top line for Vegas has been so good with Smith, Mustard Salt, and what's his face, Wild Bill there.
Yeah, Wild Bill. Yo, we could even talk about like Reeves versus Wilson because now Reeves is going to be put. Like you could argue that if they played Tampa Bay in the finals, Reeves may or may have gotten healthy scratch, regardless of how good he did in Winnipeg. And one of the big reasons why he was put in the lineup against Winnipeg was because like the matchup. Big physical team, you need Reeves in there. And now they're facing Washington. Tom Wilson just fucking runs around, does whatever he fucking wants. Yeah. They're going to need Reeves in there too. And I kind of like players like that. I think Tom Wilson is obviously way better of a player than Reeves, but when Reeves is going, he can skate, he can play well. He can do his thing.
I mean, he scored the series clinching goal.
I don't expect him to score goals, but I expect him to, when you have a guy like Tom Wilson running around, you need a guy like Reeves saying like, yo, you gonna continue to do that? I'll fuck up your players. Like that's just the way hockey.
I gotta say, man, I love watching Tom Wilson play. You know what? Physicality in our game it's eroding slowly. It's eroding. I mean, I love the emphasis on speed and skill, but you love that physical element of hockey too, man. That's one of the reasons people watch our game.
It changes the game too, and he was so instrumental in that Game 7 win against Tampa. That first period, he was
amazing running around, man.
So okay, who do you got in this series? Washington, right?
Washington 6.
Washington, man. We
But-
still down in Vegas. We still down in Vegas.
I'm gonna enjoy every fucking game of it, man, because you know what? I think of 2012 just because Los Angeles is an 8th seed. Jersey kind of came out of nowhere to make it. Like, that was a surprising cup final, but as it wasn't anywhere as intriguing as this matchup, man.
It's intriguing. Like, you
this
said
is
it.
crazy.
Ovechkin, Trotz, Gallant, like the Florida Panthers.
Reeves, Wilson, Wild Bill, St. Nick,
Opie, Fleury,
Nanny McPhee.
Ridiculous, right? There's so many things going on, and I would just like to end the episode like this. For anyone out there that is really fucking mad at the league for gifting the Vegas a Stanley Cup final appearance, yo, like, stop being such a crybaby. Honestly, as a hockey fan, I like what's best for the NHL, to be honest. I want that league to grow because, like, we're seeing some of the best times I've watched sports, and I'm not even being biased, is like when it's a good hockey game going back and forth. The rivalries are there. It's a good game. So for Vegas to witness this already in their first year, we're having kids watch this shit. That's so instrumental in the growth of hockey in Vegas. Fan bases can do so much for a team. The support. So this is going to leave Vegas wanting hockey for a long time. They're going to keep showing up to the rink, in my opinion, for the next 10 years based off this run. In my opinion, I really do. First pro team in that city. They're just winning. They're winning. They're captivated. They're fucking cheering these guys on when they're leaving the practice facility. I really think, win or lose in the Stanley Cup final, this was so important in the NHL. Yo, Trevor, you know this shit too, man. Florida has a team. They don't sell out.
Yeah.
They barely sell out. Phoenix.
Who gives a fuck?
Like, they don't give a fuck. Carolina, sometimes it's happened too, even though they've had Stanley Cup finals and shit like that. I see their building sometimes, and I'm like, damn, man, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing, and just to see the fan base, like, love this team. Gary Bettman actually got it right. You got lucky that the team made it to the finals, but it's important for the kids. And second, I'll end it off like this. Yo, who cares if Vegas has this moment now? As a Canuck fan, if the Canucks ever win the Stanley Cup, I will not give a fuck about any other teams. How many Stanley Cups a team has, when did they win? It won't even matter in the moment, man. We're just going to enjoy the moment. Let these fans enjoy the moment, man. Let them enjoy the moment.
This guy right here. You know what? I love the game of hockey, man. And it's so good to see Vegas coming through and doing well in their first year.
Straight up.
Because, like you said, it's good for the game.
Yeah.
They have the craziest, or one of the craziest arenas in the NHL.
They do.
In their first fucking year.
Everything about it. Like, you look in an era where the internet is so important in spreading the game. Look at Vegas's fucking like intermission shows, their introductions. Those things are
crazy.
Like semi-viral on the internet. A lot of NHL is not like that. But
no, it's nuts. And you know what? And I understand the rhetoric about people being jealous of Vegas.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, it's their first year. If you're in Florida and you're a diehard fan,
it's not. Yeah,
it's true. If you're in Florida,
jealous. They're jealous. That's
if you're in Florida and you're a diehard fan, yeah, no shit, you're jealous, man.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
But look at it this way. I mean, like, I don't like talk about fan base suffering, whatever. Like, this is apples to oranges, but what happened in Vegas before the season happened, man? Like, that was, the deadliest shooting in U.S. history. Yeah. That's crazy for a city to go through, man. It's even so being up in Canada, in the Great White North, it's hard to comprehend sometimes, right? Like, something's bad, terrible happening.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's just so crazy that Vegas' first home game was like a few days after that, and the city from day one rallied around that team. And look at what that team is bringing to the city, man.
Straight up.
Like, that's something people in that city are never gonna fucking forget.
They're never gonna forget.
And they just gotta ride the wave, man. Honestly, just be happy for Vegas, man.
Be
it's
happy
fucking
for
crazy.
Vegas,
it's fucking crazy.
Shout out to Tennessee.